Have you ever had that specific, just agonizing feeling where you're bubbling over with something inside?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, maybe it's this intense frustration or it's like pure joy about some tiny victory, or even that heavy sinking feeling in your stomach.
It's visceral. It's right there. You can physically feel it.
Exactly. You know exactly what it is. But then you go to explain it in English and just nothing. You hit a total wall.
A complete blockade.
Yeah. And you just say something like, I'm fine, or it is good, but inside you're, I don't know, screaming or dancing or crying.
That paralysis, that specific paralysis is exactly what we're digging into today. I mean, it's one of the most common frustrations in language learning, but we don't really talk about it.
No, we don't.
It's that gap, you know, between your internal world, which is so complex and rich, and your verbal ability, which can feel, well, really limited. And it's not just annoying. It feels like you're losing a part of yourself.
It really does. You feel like this flat, two-dimensional version of yourself, like you've lost, I don't know, 50 IQ points just by switching languages.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're doing into a guide called The Heart of the Matter, Expressing Emotions in English. And I have to say, right off the bat, this is not your typical vocabulary list.
Not at all. It's more like it treats language as a tool for psychology.
It does. It's not just listing synonyms for sad. It's more of a manual for vulnerability. The whole mission is to decode these strategies.
Yeah.
You need to talk about feelings clearly, honestly, and this is the big one, confidently.
And confidence is absolutely the key word there, because it identifies a core conflict almost immediately. It asks a really simple question. Why is this so hard? Why can we talk about, the complex work projects or logistics, but the second we try to say how we feel, we just freeze?
And the answer is in grammar,
It's not. It's fear is factor.
which, when you break it down, makes perfect sense. I mean, you're already feeling exposed when you speak another language. You're juggling syntax, pronunciation.
A million things.
Exactly. And then to add raw emotion on top of that cognitive load, that's terrifying.
It is. And this actually breaks this down into two specific fears. So first, there's the fear of sounding weak. We associate fluency with control.
Oh, that's a good point.
So if I start talking about my feelings and I stumble or I can't find the word, I suddenly lose that control. I look vulnerable, less capable.
And the second fear.
The fear of being misunderstood. I mean, imagine you finally get the courage to say, I feel devastatingly lonely, but maybe you pronounce it wrong.
Oh, no.
And the person just gives you a blank look. Or worse, they just say, what? That's
Oof. That rejection stings so much more than if you just messed up like a coffee order. Because you're offering a piece of yourself and it just fell flat.
precisely. The stakes are so much higher. You're not just transacting information, you're trying to transact intimacy. So what do? We clam up. We stick to safe topics, the weather, spreadsheets.
But it argues for this massive mindset shift. It basically says that expressing your feelings, even with the difficulty, is actually a sign of strength, not weakness.
Right. It all comes back to authenticity. When you share how you feel, even if your grammar is a little broken, you're inviting connection. You're being strong by being visible. But, and this is the really crucial part, you don't need to be Shakespeare to do it.
Thank goodness for that. Because I think a lot of us fall into what the guy calls the vocabulary myth. I know I've been guilty of that.
Right. The idea that for a big feeling, you need a big word.
Yeah, we think, oh, if I want to express this deep sadness, I need a word like despondent or melancholy. We think complexity equals accuracy.
And this just busts that myth immediately. It says effective emotional communication is about clarity, not complexity. In fact, using those big academic words can actually create distance. It sounds, I don't know, performative.
Or clinical. Yeah, if you tell a friend you're experiencing melancholy, you sound like you're in a Victorian novel, not like a real person.
Exactly.
So if we strip away the, what are we left with? It's core list. And I have to be honest, when I first saw it, I was like, really? This is it?
It seems way too simple, right? It looks like a list for kindergartners.
It really does. The list is just happy, sad, angry, tired, nervous, excited. I mean, these are the words you learn in your very first week of class.
They are, but think about how powerful they are. They're unambiguous. They're what I'd call high bandwidth words. If you tell me you're feeling despondent, I have to sort of pause and process that.
Right. Like, is he being dramatic? Is he exaggerating?
Yeah, but if you just look me in the eye and say, I am sad, that message lands instantly.
There's no decoding time. It just hits the target.
Exactly. The whole goal of emotional communication is to transfer meaning with zero friction. These simple words remove all that friction. They're just raw data.
I like that. High bandwidth tools.
Hmm.
I feel framework.
It's the absolute backbone. I feel, plus an adjective. I feel happy today, or I feel nervous before meetings.
It's so direct. But I want to pause on that for a second. The difference between I feel and I am. Because I hear learners say, I am sad a lot. Is there a big difference?
There is actually edges on this. I am can sometimes sound like a permanent state of being. I am American, I am tall, I am sad. It sounds like your identity.
I see.
But I feel claims ownership of a temporary state. It implies movement. I feel this way now. It's not who I am.
It also stops you from blaming something external.
Mm-hmm.
You're not saying this meeting is boring, which someone could argue with.
Good point.
You're saying I feel bored, which is just an indisputable fact about you.
That's a key distinction. It cuts through all the noise, and it claims ownership. You're just reporting on your internal weather. And nobody can tell you you're wrong about how you feel.
Okay, so we've got the I feel statement. I feel tired. But sometimes that feels a little short.
Mm-hmm.
If I just walk up to you and say, I feel angry, and then just stop talking.
Right. Context is everything. If you just leave it hanging there, people will start filling in the blanks, and usually with their own insecurities.
Exactly.
And that's adding the because clause. I mean, meaningful communication usually involves the why.
So the formula becomes I feel plus the adjective plus because plus the reason.
Precisely. I feel tired because I didn't sleep well.
Boom. Instantly. I'm not being rude. I'm just explaining my physical state. I'm letting you off the hook.
Or I feel nervous because I have a big presentation. When you add the reason, you're inviting the listener into your world. You're giving them context so they can empathize instead of just judging you.
It's such a small word, because, but it totally transforms a statement into a story.
It moves it from just reporting a status to actually starting a conversation. Oh, a presentation. What's it about? And suddenly we're connecting.
Trace this into two camps, positive emotions and negative ones. And I thought this was really interesting because the strategies are actually different.
We absolutely treat them differently, don't we? Sharing positive feelings is what specifically builds connection. And we often forget to do this because we're so focused on just getting the facts out.
We just report the news. I finished the project. I got the job. We treat our lives like a bulleted list.
Right, just facts. Shifting that to, I feel proud that I finished the project, or I feel so excited that I got the job.
It really changes the energy, doesn't it? It feels warmer.
Completely. When you share the feeling, you raise the energy of the whole interaction. It's an invitation for the other person to celebrate with you. If you just say, I finished the project, I'll probably say, good job. But if you say, I feel so relieved and proud, I'm going to smile and say, that's amazing, you deserve it, tell me more. You're giving them permission to feel good with you.
Stating the fact is information. Stating the feeling is connection.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so let's flip the coin. Negative feelings. This is where it gets trickier, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be the downer.
No.
We have that fear of oversharing or just, burdening people.
And that brings us right back to the fear of being misunderstood. But this is where the really liberating insight. For negative feelings like I feel stressed or I feel overwhelmed, you don't always need the because.
Wait, really? But we just established that adding because gives it context and makes it stronger.
For clarity, yes. But for emotional safety in those really difficult moments, just naming the feeling is enough. It's about setting boundaries. Sometimes explaining the why is just too exhausting.
That is actually a huge relief.
Yeah.
So if I'm having a terrible day, I don't need to give a 10-minute backstory on my boss and the traffic and my cold coffee.
No, you can just say, I feel overwhelmed today. That's a complete sentence. It validates your own experience without making you justify it.
It's almost like a stop sign. I feel stressed, period.
It acknowledges the reality without demanding a solution. Because often, when we explain the why of a negative feeling, the listener immediately tries to fix it. Oh, traffic was bad. You should take a different route.
Right. And you just want to scream, I don't want a route. I just want to be mad for a minute.
Exactly. By just stating, I feel frustrated, you're honoring your state, you're being honest, but you aren't forced to explain everything if you don't have the energy. You're preserving your battery.
Okay, but let's say I do want to share, but I'm feeling really vulnerable. Or maybe I'm talking to someone I don't know that well. Saying I am angry just feels so intense. It feels like a confrontation.
It does. It's high voltage. If you say, I am angry to a colleague, alarms go off. And this is what I think is one of its most practical tools, the softening technique.
I love this section. It's like putting a dimmer switch on your emotions so you don't blow a fuse.
That's a perfect analogy. You just use these little modifier words to lower the intensity. Words like a bit, kind of, or sometimes.
So instead of I feel anxious, which can sound like a full-blown panic attack,
I feel a bit anxious.
or instead of I am upset, which sounds like I'm about to flip a table.
I'm kind of upset.
It's amazing how much safer that feels. Why does that work so well? Is it just being polite?
It's more than that. It lowers the barrier to entry for the conversation. If you feel like you have to commit 100% to being angry, you might just stay silent.
True.
But if you can commit to being a bit sad, it's easier to speak up. It signals to the listener, hey, I'm having a feeling, but I'm still in control. It's safe to talk to me.
It's like social lubrication. It keeps the conversation moving without things getting too heavy too fast.
Yeah.
It lets you test the waters.
Precisely. And speaking of testing the waters, there's another trap the source warns against, which is the translation trap.
Oh, this is a big one. When you try to translate a feeling from your native language directly into English.
Right. And this is where culture and vocabulary just collide. I mean, every language has these incredibly specific emotional words that capture a whole cultural mood.
Like schadenfreude in German,
Mm-hmm.
or saudade in Portuguese.
Exactly. These words carry centuries of history. And if you're feeling saudade, that deep, nostalgic longing, and you try to find the perfect English equivalent, you're going to freeze because it doesn't exist.
You're searching for a ghost.
Yeah, and you'll end up with a sentence that sounds really confusing to a native speaker. Source advises, don't translate the word, translate the core truth. Stick to simple English.
So if you're feeling that deep, complex longing for your homeland,
Just say, I feel sad because I miss home.
it feels like a letdown, though. It doesn't capture the poetry of the original word.
For you, maybe not. But for the listener, I feel sad because I miss home is powerful. It's clear. It creates immediate empathy. If you spend 10 minutes trying to explain saudade, you're giving a lecture. If you say I miss home, you're making a connection. You have to decide, do you want to be a poet or do you want to be understood?
Connection over precision.
That's the headline, connection over precision.
Now, we've talked a lot about the speaking part, but communication is a two-way street, right?
Yeah.
Really important point that it's not just about you talking.
Yes. The holistic approach, if you want people to listen to you, you have to be a safe space for them, but that's scary too.
Oh, it's terrifying. When someone starts crying or tells you they're depressed in your second language, you just panic. You think, I don't have the vocabulary to fix this.
You totally freeze up. You're like, do I offer advice? Do I change the subject? This ties this beautifully with what it calls empathy scripts.
I love these. They're like life rafts for awkward conversations.
Right. You don't have to be a therapist. You don't have to solve their problem. You just need to acknowledge them.
So what are the phrases?
Really simple things like, I understand, or that sounds difficult, or just the classic, I'm here for you.
That sounds difficult. It's so simple, but it's so validating.
It is. You're not trying to fix it. You're not offering a solution in broken English. You are just witnessing their pain. If someone says, I feel overwhelmed, and you say, that sounds difficult, you have successfully navigated that conversation. You've done your job.
It takes all the pressure off.
Yeah.
You don't have to be wise. You just have to be present.
Exactly. And speaking of being present, the source brings up something we totally ignore in language learning. The body.
Yes. Physicality. Because when we're nervous about speaking, what do? We tense up, our shoulders go up to our ears, we clench our jaw.
We armor ourselves. We go into fight or flight. But that tension physically restricts your voice. It tightens your larynx. It makes you sound higher pitched, more frantic.
So you could be saying, I feel confident, but your body is screaming, run away.
And humans read body language before they hear words. So the advice is simple. Relax the shoulders. Drop them down. Breathe slowly.
It sounds like yoga, but it's actually linguistic advice.
It is. When you breathe slowly, your voice naturally drops into a calmer register. And when your voice is calm, your words carry more weight. It supports the message.
It's the fake it till you make it for your biology. If you calm the body, the brain follows.
And the pacing, too. Take your time.
Oh, this is so hard. I always feel like if I pause, the other person will think I'm stupid or I've forgotten language. I just want to fill every silence with noise.
That's the insecurity talking. In reality, a pause usually signals thoughtfulness. It shows you're searching for the truth, not just the next word. It's okay to stop, breathe, think, and then speak.
Silence is not the enemy.
No, Silence is room for the emotion to breathe.
So we have the vocabulary, the sentence structures, the softeners, the body language. But how do we make this actually stick? Because in the heat of the moment, I'm probably going to forget all of this and just grunt.
That's fair. Specific habit, the daily practice.
And what I like about this is that it's a solo practice. You don't need a partner or a tutor.
No partner needed. It's self-talk. The suggestion is just to ask yourself, how do I feel today? And then answer out loud in English.
Do it in the shower, in the car, whatever.
Exactly. Just narrate your life. I feel tired because I stayed up late. I feel excited about this coffee. I feel a bit nervous about this drive.
It feels a little silly at first, talking to yourself.
It might, but by doing this when the stakes are low, when no one's watching, you are literally building the neural pathways. You're connecting your emotional center to your English language center.
You rehearse it.
You're normalizing that connection. So when you are in a high-stakes situation, a job interview, a date, the words are already there. You've said them 100 times to yourself.
It's like muscle memory for your heart.
Beautifully put.
So let's just recap the mission here. We started with that frustration, right? Hitting that wall. And we realized it's driven by fear.
Fear of weakness, fear of being misunderstood. Then we looked at the simple tools to overcome that. The core list of words, the I feel framework.
Right. And the power of because, for context, but also the power of dropping the because to set boundaries. We talked about softeners like a bit to lower the stakes.
The importance of not translating directly and the physical side breathing, listening, just taking your time. It all comes back to that initial mindset shift, that expressing feelings is strength.
It is. It really does require courage.
And this really affirming thought. It says, your feelings matter and your voice matters too.
I think that's the core message. So many learners feel like their English self is this second-class citizen. You know? Like their feelings don't count as much because the grammar isn't perfect.
Right.
And this guide is just saying, no, your internal experience is valid. And you have the right to express it, however simply you need to.
The barrier really isn't your vocabulary level, it's your willingness to be simple. We think we need to build this, like, Golden Gate Bridge of complex words to reach someone.
But usually a simple wooden plank is enough to walk across. And frankly, people appreciate this simple plank. They just want to reach you.
I love that. A simple plank is enough. So here's our challenge to you, the listener. Today, right now, just take a second. Ask yourself, how do I feel?
And answer it out loud if you can.
I feel inspired, I feel ready, I feel a bit hungry, whatever it is.
And just notice that you didn't need a dictionary to say it.
Exactly. It's about being kind to yourself and realizing this is a skill. It gets better with practice. Be honest, be simple, be kind.
Couldn't have said it better.
Thanks for diving in with us today.
It was a pleasure. And hey, before you go, here's a thought to chew on. We talked about how saying I feel claims ownership of your emotions. But think about how often, maybe in your native language, you might blame the world for how you feel. You know, saying you make me angry instead of I feel angry. What if learning to speak about this stuff in English actually helps you take better responsibility for your emotions in your own language? What if the limitation of the second language actually makes you emotionally smarter?
That's a fascinating thought. The constraints of the language might actually clarify the emotion.
Something to think about. See you in the next